Alright, what's going on, everybody? So it's time for me to review Titanfall, one of the many games that kept me very busy as a gamer during the month of March. So let's get right into it. So as we know, Titanfall is the big AAA platform console exclusive for the Xbox platforms, made by Respawn Entertainment. The 360 version of the game, I'm not even sure if it's out yet. I know retailers have been releasing it kind of early though, since that game was delayed twice, but it was released on the Xbox One and the PC at the same time. So let's get right into it. So we know Titanfall is a multiplayer only game. There's no story to aspect to it, even though they do try to implement this story into the campaign mode, which is what they call it, which is just a pseudo campaign, and it's just a method for you to unlock the Titans, the different types of Titans, because not all of them are available to you from the beginning. So let's talk about the gameplay first, since there's no story and everything. We only need to talk about the gameplay and the graphics. So there's 5 game modes: Attrition, Last Titan Standing, Hardpoint, Domination, Capture the Flag, Pilot Hunter, and I think those are good. I think I would say all of them. I think it's a sufficient amount of game modes. I would say they just barely met the standard because there's 5 game modes. So I think it's a sufficient amount. Last Titan Standing used to be my favorite, but until it turned into Last Titan Camping, because of how people play it. Attrition is just typical deathmatch, that's fine. Hardpoint Domination is capture the points, typical domination game. Pilot Hunter is pretty much attrition. It's pretty much deathmatch, but you only get points for actually killing pilots, not for killing bots and all the other things in the game. And Capture the Flag is definitely probably one of the most, I would say, fun modes, arguably one of the most fun modes. So it's sufficient, some good sufficient game modes. Maps. There are plenty of maps, a plethora of maps. One of the most, the highest number of maps I've seen in a multiplayer game in a while. There's 15 maps. So they're not lacking when it comes to the amount of maps. They have plenty of those. What they are lacking is, surprisingly, primary weapons for pilots. This, I may be wrong, but in recent memory, as long as I've been a gamer, this is the first time I've ever encountered a game that has more maps than weapons. There are 15 maps in this game. There are 10 primary weapons. So that's one of the drawbacks in this game, that there's a lack of content when it comes to primary weapons. So that's definitely lacking. There are burn cards in the game, which are basically consumable in-game abilities. There's 3 type of Titans, basically light, heavy, medium, and they all have their own given ability with that: Strider, Ogre, and Atlas. And with these Titans, and also with your pilot, you have different abilities. There's tier 1 kits, tier 2 kits, which are like passive abilities. There's your ordnance, which is almost like your special weapon or explosive weapon if you're a pilot. So there's some decent customization as far as the Titan goes, in customizing your loadout. There's not really any cosmetic customization or anything like that, even though you can choose from weapon. Male or female. I enjoy Titanfall very much. I find it very fun. I found it very fun. I still do. When the game first came out, especially during the beta, I played it maybe 5 hours at a time. I still play it now and enjoy it. I don't play it as much, obviously, not 5 hours at a time, maybe 2 hours, every time I play. Yeah, so it's. I would say maybe probably the lack of content is what contributed to that. Now the graphics in the game, I'm gonna get back to the gameplay, but let me just touch on the graphics real quick. The graphics are nothing stunning. It's even on the PC, which is what I spent most of my time playing on, just because it is the better performing and better performing version. The game, even on the Xbox One, the game is pretty stable. Yeah, it runs at 60 frames. It goes up and down. Even on the PC version, the frame rates do drop, especially on certain modes. They seem to be unstable on certain maps and modes. Like Last Titan Standing, there do seem to be some frame drop problems. But I would say for the most part, it is pretty good. But the graphics are nothing stunning. You can tell they are graphics during the transferable period from last gen to this gen. You can tell they border that line between them, so it's nothing amazing. I do think it definitely could have used more polish, so nothing stunning there in the graphics department, but it's not horrible. It's not a horrible looking game, but it's a very static environment where everything is pretty much made out of titanium. There's no destructible environments or anything like that, which is unfortunate. But I do think that's something they can implement in a sequel, and we probably will see a sequel. The game sold fairly well. They have no reason not to make a sequel. I do think that's something we will see in a sequel. And it's kind of unfortunate. You have these huge, gigantic metal, robots, and nothing is really destructible. That kind of doesn't make any sense. But and I would say the 6-on-6 thing, after the whole debacle about it, nobody ever really thought about it. Especially when you're playing, you never really thought about it, like, oh, this is only 6-on-6. That never became a huge problem. Even though I do think it kind of drew back from the potential of the game. Now, the problems in Titanfall. I can list you straight out, flat out, the problems in Titanfall, which are not necessarily the problems in Titanfall are things that the developer put in there by design. And there are not many issues with this game, in my opinion. The game is a very good game, still very fun, like I said. But let me tell you the problems in Titanfall, and the problems and the issues are purpose-made, mechanics and features in the game by the designer. Cloaking. I strongly stand by this. Cloaking does not belong in multiplayer games. I don't care how much you defend it. It creates this huge imbalance in multiplayer games because it just can't be tamed. It creates a problem when you cannot see somebody. It just doesn't work. I don't think there's been any game that has been made that has really balanced it correctly. Next thing is active radar pulse. Active radar pulse is basically a wall hack. You can see through walls. Listen mode if you play Last of Us or any other game that there's always been a name for it since seeing through walls has been acceptable in video games. That creates an imbalance in the multiplayer. So a player could, and it's a perk, a player could just press a button, oh, I can see you through a wall. What is completely ironic to me about that is, Respawn, they were cracking down on hackers, right? My thing is, why are you trying to crack down on these cheaters and hackers when you are allowing abilities in the game that are essentially the same thing you're doing? The Smart Pistol. The Smart Pistol is a gun that aims for you, and you can try to defend that gun all you want. It should not be in the game. They nerfed it. It's still as deadly as ever. It's still extremely lethal. I get killed by it all the time by people who are not even aiming at me. It's an aimbot. The gun is a legal aimbot. So my thing is, how are you trying to crack down on cheaters in the game when you have a gun that aims for you, an aimbot, which is the same thing you're trying to ban and take out of the game, and you have active radar pulse, which is a wall hack, the same thing that you're trying to crack down on cheaters for? Why? Let them play the game. They're only doing the same thing that you already allow. I don't see the problem. I see no problem with letting all the cheaters do what they do when you are allowing the same thing in your game already. You can't do that. I don't see the problem. I don't see how that makes sense. If you're gonna kick the cheaters out the game for doing that, take Smart Pistol out the game. Take active radar pulse wall hack out the game. Doesn't make any sense. Besides bots, the next thing is bots. The bots absolutely add nothing to this game. They only hold it back. They're only annoying distractions, and use up use up resources and CPU power in the game. That's all it does. They're useless. they serve a purpose, to get your Titan to fall faster, cut down your Titanfall time. But other than that, you could have implemented that another way, that you could get your Titan faster just by killing pilots, add up the player count. Bots absolutely add nothing to the game. They're just a complete negative to the game. They serve no good service to the game. And like I said, already the lack of content and the jump kick. People like to spam this jump kick, and it's become a problem because, I would say with sometimes the latency on your screen, you could feel like you're 5 feet away and somebody could jump kick you, but for some reason on their screen they're like right in front of you, practically touching you. On my screen, they're not even near me. So people like to spam that because it's a one-hit kill. You could put 7 bullets in a guy, and he's fine. Somebody jump kicks me during that whole situation and I'm dead. A kick can kill you with 1 hit, but 7-8 bullets to the chest, I'm good. Don't worry about me. That's one lethal kick you did though. Yeah, whatever. So the problems in the game are just, like I said, the features and mechanics that they put in there that are poorly, that make the game poorly balanced. Make it poorly balanced. But besides that, the actual Titans, are obviously the main focus of the game, and they're great. They're great. Like, the Titan battles are what really make this game shine. Being in a Titan is what sets this game, separated from everything else. If there were no Titans in this game, obviously that wouldn't make it Titanfall. But if there were no Titans in this game, it would be nothing really. I don't know what this game would be without Titans, and that's not to take anything away from it. But yeah, this game is obviously surrounded around Titan gameplay, and once you get into Titan, that's where the most fun is to be had. So, I think that's that kind of covers all of it. The game has a lot more, pluses than negatives, a lot more pros than cons. It's just a few things that I think developers try to put in it to cater to the noobs and newcomers, and it only kind of messes up the game. That's the problem. Developers try to put all these crutches in the game, and it's a very noob-friendly game. It's very, it's very newcomer-friendly. I would say it's very pick-up-and-play. It's very accessible, which for someone who likes more competitive things, it could be kind of a bad thing. But overall, I would give Titanfall an 8.5 because it is definitely a very fun and good game, besides the few things that are put into the game that shouldn't be there, and the problem of people exploiting this, because you can't put anything in the game that people have the potential to exploit, because as we know, gamers will not hold back. Some gamers will not hold back. Me, I have never used a smart pistol. I can't do it. I would jump out a window before I use that gun. I would literally smack myself if I even thought about using that gun. Just because, I don't know, I guess I have some integrity as a gamer, and that's kind of stupid to say integrity. It's a video game. Yeah, but I feel that way because I have a very competitive nature, and I don't think those things should be in a competitive setting. Active pulse radar, I would never use that thing. Same thing with Last of Us. Anybody who's watched my Last of Us video knows, like, anyone, like, if you watch any of my multiplayer Last of Us videos, I'm like always top player. I've never used listen mode. Anybody who uses listen mode is a fraud. That's just my opinion. I know I'm straying a little bit, but I'm also venting, because when stuff like this gets put in the game, it makes me mad. It makes me lose my mind. Cloaking, same thing. Makes me lose my mind. But anyway, besides those things, the game is good. I enjoy it. I still play it now. So that's my review on Titanfall. 8.5. Good game. Alright, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace. Enjoy the rest of the gameplay. I get a pretty funny double satchel kill at the end.
Bring it down. situation is under our control. Well done.
Be advised. Forces defeated, but enemy survivors remain in your area. Do not allow them to escape.